you may not know, but during the session, there's been some questions going out to the audience, and we have some poll results. So let's just look straight away at the result from the first question, and then we can comment on the first of the poll questions. So it should be coming up now. Okay, middle managers. Do you believe middle managers are used effectively in your company? So 12.5% really do agree, but then at least a quarter completely disagree, another 12.5% undecided. Okay, and guess what? Half the people out there say, I think the position needs improvement. So very clearly, middle managers are not being used effectively. They need to be improved. Matthias, we've heard your views on middle management. Let's go to Sabine. Do you have any reactions to that?
Well, it's interesting because the concept of middle managers was years ago a topic as well. Yeah, and Matthias and I joined Lufthansa German Airlines both, and we discussed these questions years ago. And now I think you already presented some roles, different roles, like the influencer. And for me, it's also a networker. Yeah, the middle manager is really in between, and sometimes is more advanced than the senior management. So there is an influence networking job for me coming up really for this kind of topic and this kind of role. I don't know, Matthias, what do you think about that?
Yeah. There's a comment from Tugbo, one of the audience, to Matthias. If we can see the comment on the screen, that would be good, because he's asking the question about, okay, so what happens if senior leadership is not supporting the middle management? Comment there, Matthias?
Yeah, just a short story. I talked about storytelling. Here's a story. So I was called by a group of middle managers from a technology company in Germany, about 3,000 employees, 150 managers, so most of them middle managers. And they called me and said, we just had an internal leadership training. And after the training, we were 15 participants in the training, middle managers. We sat together and found, wow, this silo thinking, these egos we have in the company, this is really evil. So this is toxic. We have to get rid of this. And we decided we will just do it. So we don't give a shit on what our boss thinks and how he or they, the bosses above them, behave. We just do it. We stop fighting against each other. We focus our energy on the customer. And in order to show to everybody that this is serious, they bought green bracelets. So they were called internally the green bracelet holders, Grünbandträger auf Deutsch. So green bracelet holders. And the CEO, after a while, we came into contact. He said that I was watching this and I thought, oh shit, something bad happened in this training, but I better do nothing. They will get back to normal after a while, so don't disturb them even further. But when they tried to, I had to do a little support to them. They tried to configure a network between them, so they worked together with each other on a new world of collaboration, and they just ignored what their bosses were saying, and more people started to wear those green bracelets. And then the CEO once called me and said, you're not guilty, but you did something with my team. So they behave completely strange. I don't understand it. Could we have an all management meeting? And then we did the meeting, and then they explained, we need to do this differently. We don't see your support from the top, so we decided to do it on our own. And then I introduced the first step of our exercise, and the boss came to me, pushed me a little bit aside from the microphone, said, stop. Before we continue here, I would like to apply here on stage for green bracelet also. So I would like to wear one of those too. Then they were completely sold out, of course. So the company really transformed into this thing. So that's the message I took from this is so if you wait for the guy at the top to start first. You may be asked or forced to wait too long. So just start, build connections, collaborate with your peer colleagues on the same level in different departments, because the result of collaboration cannot be negative. So the risk that is being perceived as damaging the result of the company the probability is zero. So start collaborating, show the others how this works, and then that would help my job as, what did you say, Peter, the president of the middle management support, whatever. So you can help me by doing it yourself.
Okay, I think you have a member of your group already. Michael is there with his blue bracelet, not his green one. Okay,
Yeah.
do you want to add a comment, Michael, where that came from?
It's purely and simply as a memory of some fun times in the United States with my grandson.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I was expecting some great management conference you've been to or something.
I'm afraid not, Peter.
And maybe this is also a sign of hope to see them again, to remind us that we had great moments with each other. Yeah, we can also have small little signs, rituals that remind us there is hope, there is future, and we will be part of it.
I like that.
Absolutely. I think going back to Diana and her view of hope, I think it only takes small things to trigger it. I was very interested, Diana, your comment about whether AGI, which is when finally the computers kind of take over all the human jobs, is not actually going to be something that we should fear, but actually something that in a way should make our lives more satisfying. Want to talk about that? Well, and whether you'd like a green bracelet, of course.
Yes, for sure. The green bracelet I would like. And I would say AGI is really, broadly defined. It's differently defined and for different reasons by all people. But it's really when computers will not take over, but maybe become more intelligent than the most intelligent human. And I would say right now, just in this moment of generative AI, we can spend the next decade unpacking its capabilities with even any technical progress, and we'd still have our hands full. So I do think that that's the kind of future world that I live in every day. I'm interested in human-centered design, and we have a lot of designers thinking about that. And really, it's partly because of what we've all been talking about. Like, how do we really think about designing it so that the human beings within an organization can, spend more time, not just the middle managers, can spend more time on the human-to-human connection and collaboration, can actually think about outcomes versus a lot of busy work. And the interesting trend that I've seen and the research that I've seen also talks about orchestration now really being the key aspect in organizations that are implementing new generative AI technology and digital employees and AI agents. Because at the end of the day, this small, me being able to summarize my emails or brainstorm or whatnot is not what's going to create better organizations or better returns. It's really the end-to-end redesign of workflows and redesign of work. So we're at this moment when, you can have somebody who's just started be managing and orchestrating a whole bunch of AI agents and maybe some humans. So I think we need to really rethink work a bit. And I would suggest that middle managers, even the term may be retired, and we may think of it in a different way as people flow to work and we have more organizations.
Yeah, I think you're right on. The word middle manager won't exist in 10 years' time. Okay, we have some results from another question, so we can have the next poll result up to see what our audience think. So, uncertainty, they absolutely agree, 75%, that they interpret uncertainty in their own way, which is great. So I see Sabine's smiling at that. Only 25% totally disagreeing. So people do feel that they have their own ability to manage and say yet. Yet they don't know, but they can manage that. Sabine, a comment?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and they should really, I mean, follow the path with curiosity and courage. Yeah, because I mean, this is what we need in the future, and to really accept that space, the not knowing yet, is a gentle reminder that clarity is on its way.
Okay, good. And then let's have the last of the questions. I think it's probably the last of the poll results. I think a manager or a team of experts on relevant subject be more effective for projects. Critical for both expert and executive leadership to work together. 100%. Everybody thinks. So expert and executive leadership should work together. Yes, I think that's shows that what we're talking about is a different sort of leadership that collaborates rather than commands, that pulls things together. I think we might have one last. Here we go. One last poll answer. Does your company support employees use AI tools support the development? Okay, so we've got split equally between the absolutely agree and the absolutely disagree. Okay, or 20% is just beginning. So are they supporting employees using AI tools? And interestingly, some companies are saying, no, we don't want you using AI because it's cheating. Other ones are saying, let's embrace the technology and let's really build on it, using it for what it's good at, but then also still maintaining the human aspects as well. Michael, do you want to comment on that result as well?
I think the key is going to be to focus on the human going forwards. I think one of the interesting things is the consideration of, for example, AI in terms of helping us to become more human. In other words, enabling insights that we might not have been able to have had AI not been there to help us. One is, for example, organizational network analysis, where we can scan the entire organization. We can see, if we're so inclined, where there are, if I could put it this way, pockets of toxicity, as demonstrated by attrition rates by team. So that could help us to zero in on where perhaps a manager is struggling, someone who has been promoted before they're ready, or who have interpersonal issues with their team members. We could actually use AI to help us to fast forward that process rather than wondering what's going on in the organization. So I think it's going to make us more human.
Okay, that's good. I want to put one final comment up on the screen and then invite Sinan from Management Center Turkey to join us. He has a couple of questions for us as well. So could you see there's a comment for Matthias about his collaboration, that collaboration matters. Okay, so intentions and strong relationship management amongst leaders. Okay, people can build renewal bridges. That I think that's they make an important difference. That's the whole comment. It's not quite all there. Okay, yeah. Just saying that the audience there are very supportive of what we've been saying. Okay, so Sinan, if you'd like to join us, I think you have a couple of questions you'd like to pose to the panel. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I mean, it's been a great panel. The first one as well, but the second one as well. So it's been a great almost 3 hours for us. Very inspiring with the topics that you have discussed and all the comments that you had given to the polls and to the comments as well. So a very short summary from my side before I start to ask my questions. I have 2 questions. But I mean, I think the hope was the main, let's say, topic of today's, let's say, panel, and it was intended to. I mean, as we are opening the box of Pandora, we were all looking for the hope, and we all discussed the biology of hope, and also the how the managers are able to choose the optimism in this, let's say, difficult times. And also I had 2 hashtags from my side, which I'm going to carry on with myself, and I'm going to think on them in the next couple of days and months, most probably. First hashtag was the peace, the new definition of peace, and the second one, the VUCA, because we were always discussing the word VUCA for the last couple of decades, but now this VUCA acronym was very new for me, and thank you for that. And I mean, at the end of the day, there is a strong message from me, and most probably for the all the people who are listening to us, is that hope is not a wishful thinking idea nowadays. It's a strategical advantage when we can choose hope over this, let's say, difficult times. So this is my summary from my side. Thank you all. And I have 2 questions, as I said before. The first one is about how to deal with that pressure and uncertainty, and how can leaders consciously choose optimism, and how does that decision can go outward the team and organization and the company. So this is it's a how question. We know why, and it's a how question. So please share your comments on that.
I'd like to just pick on Diana to give us her views on how can actually leaders do this. How can they choose optimism?
So I invited people to think about it from the perspective of hope, and I think that it does maybe consolidate some of the things that we've talked about across the panels. One is the idea of witnessing possibility, seeing how other people are doing things, seeing how people are coping. And it's interesting that Matthias talked about the influencers. And I don't think, middle management, but just more generally, like finding the champions within the business can be really powerful. For example, if you are rolling out some kind of change management or AI business transformation, being able to have people to tell stories and empower them to tell stories about how they are doing it gives other people a sense of, oh, maybe we don't know where the full end game is, but I know what my next step is. And that gives me hope, and it gives me a sense of like, okay, I can learn this new thing. I can do this one thing. And on a more broader organizational perspective, you can go ahead and assess and then create some ladders or a jungle gym of possibility in terms of learning and growth for people. And I do think that anchors in optimism.
Okay, you mentioned
and that is real experience. For instance, we've just assessed everybody in our company and have partnered with third party to allow every single person to say, okay, what's my next step then? And that gives a sense of grounding and uncertainty.
Okay, that's good. You also mentioned the leaders becoming influencers. Sabine, you have a leadfluencer that you use. Can we have a brief explanation of what that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had the presentation at your conference the year ago, and I was talking about the leadfluencer, because I mean, we as leaders are influencers, we are leader, and we need to have a certain fluency in terms of communication, because this is our basic tool to deliver the message. Yeah, and as we said it, and you just the VUCA. I came to the VUCA because I think as leaders nowadays, to transport hope, we need a vision. We need an understanding in terms of really listening to people. We need presence instead of panic. And we need to accept that the world is just doing what it does. Yeah, and to just cope with it. Thank you.
Okay. Sinan, you had a second question, I think.
Yes, I mean, this is like a final question to the today's panels, and as you mentioned, many different, let's say, capabilities, leadership styles, and leadership, let's say, intentions. So my question would be, as we all according to all we have discussed today, I mean, and along the way, is there one leadership capability that will define the next decade? And what do you believe it, and why is that? So this is the final question.
Okay, final question. One leadership quality, Matthias.
Yeah, you know, in Switzerland, we always have two things which we combine, so a compromise. So my compromise will be, let's link courage and empathy. So courage is needed, you know, if things are uncertain, you don't know, then you need to be courageous, you need to be look forward. But without empathy, you will not end up where you want to be. If you want to climb a mountain, you have a rope team, and before they start, they better get to know each other very well. Because without this empathy, I understand not only what the names are, but I understand the people behind the names. I know the capabilities, the feelings, also the aims and the values and things, and then they would start. No rope team would start climbing a mountain without getting to know each other before. And let's think, when we go to work tomorrow, day after tomorrow, it's not very different to climbing a mountain with a rope team. So let's get to know each other much better than we did before. Because you can train a lot of things, but you cannot train how people will behave under real pressure. You know, I was in charge of Swiss HR when we had to dismiss 35,000 people. That's really a very difficult situation. And then you find out which teams know each other very well, they can work and they can function, and others they couldn't. And you better start getting to know the others before you start climbing. That's my message.
Thank you, Matthias. That's great. Okay, Michael, one leadership quality that is needed. And by the way, empathy is now gone, so you'll have to fix it.
Well, I will go for one word, and that is consistency.
Okay.
And the reason why I choose consistency is that we're living in a time of great turbulence right now, a lot of which we are totally unable to control. But one thing we can control is how we show up for people. It connects actually rather nicely with Sabina's point about presence. I think it's almost a duty of care to the people who work with us to show a really high degree of consistency. People want, particularly in their leaders, to be able to predict what they're going to be like on a given day. So if you're warm and friendly on Monday, cold as ice on Tuesday, warm and friendly on Wednesday, people can't really function to the best of their abilities because you're destroying any possibility for psychological safety, for example, to exist. So I would say consistency. Let's try to be dependable for our friends and our colleagues in this time of great turbulence.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, one word of leadership capability from Diana, and I'm afraid empathy and consistency have now gone.
Curiosity as well.
And
No.
I'm going to, steal Matthias's double-barreled response, but it will be a bit different. So I think that speed, which is maybe different than most people, and trust, and I think they're interlinked. I believe now that responding at speed and going forward at speed can now engender trust. So, and trust is ultimately the biggest thing. So in a way, Michael, when you talk about consistency, underlying that is, I trust my leader. I trust them to be aligned. I trust them to keep me safe. I trust them to have my best interests in mind. And that's as a leader, it's for your customers. It's really one of the things that I think is both important, but also changing. So I'm quite interested to explore it further.
Yeah, trust is something that appears a lot. Okay, Sabina, you have one word of leadership quality.
Yeah, I mean, can I just put them into one word? No, I can't. So the presence, I think still the presence is a key word for me, being present, being there, taking a stand. But I would add curiosity, because curiosity is always a hopeful thing. Yeah, if I go into something being curious, I have already entered the path to the future.
Okay, I think we may have lost Sabine there. Okay, we got.
I think we got it. Yeah,
we got the curiosity. That's good. Okay, so final one from me then. I would choose humility. So the opposite of the self-centered, I'm important leader who stands in front of people and takes the glory. Somebody who is leading from below, as Matthias was saying, in terms of going up the mountain, supportive of the team, feels comfortable mixing with the people at the bottom of the organization, is not separate and on a pedestal as traditional leaders were. So my one is humility. I'm afraid we're running out of time now. So I just want to say thank you all to you all for your great presentations and your contribution. Do you have a last word to say, Sinan?
I think it's been a great panel, as always. Thank you, Peter, and thank you all the friends at the Future of Work Forum. So I hope to see you next year.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye to the audience. And yes, see you next year. Bye for now.